Doctor Strange opens a forbidden spell book and accidentally summons the alien human lizard, a predator born from the void between worlds. Half reptile, half man, its body mutates with every second, adapting faster than Strange's magic can bind it. New York's skyline twists into a nightmare maze as sorcery collides with primal evolution. Every portal Strange opens only multiplies the beast, turning one monster into an army of shifting horrors. And when the sanctum itself begins to crack, Strange realizes this isn't just survival. It's a war for reality itself. The Sanctum Sanctorum was never quiet. Even in the stillness of midnight, the walls hummed with the echoes of forgotten spells, the whispers of dimensions brushing against one another. Candles flickered without wind, shadows stretched in unnatural directions, and the air itself seemed to breathe. Dr. Stephen Strange stood in the center of the library, his cloak of levitation draped across his shoulders, his hands hovering over an ancient tome bound in scales that were not of this earth. His eyes narrowed, the faint glow of eldritch runes reflecting in his irises. He shouldn't have opened it. He knew that, but the book had called to him. The Codex of the Forgotten Flesh, a relic so dangerous that even the Ancient One had forbidden its use. Strange had locked it away years ago, but tonight something was different. The wards around the sanctum had trembled, as though something outside reality itself was pressing against the walls of the universe. And so, against his better judgment, he read. The words slithered off the page, twisting in his mind, reshaping themselves into sounds that no human tongue should utter. The air grew heavy, the candles sputtered, and the floor beneath him cracked with veins of green light. Then the rift opened. A tear split the air, jagged and raw, spilling a sickly emerald glow into the sanctum. Strange staggered back, his hands rising instinctively, weaving protective sigils. But the pull was too strong. The rift widened, reality bending, and from its depths came a sound that froze his blood. A hiss. It was long, guttural, layered with something almost human, and then it stepped through. The creature was massive, hunched, its body a grotesque fusion of reptilian muscle and distorted human anatomy. Black-green scales rippled across its chest and arms, but patches of pale, sinewy flesh stretched between them, twitching as though alive. Its eyes glowed venomous green, vertical pupils narrowing as they locked onto Strange. Its mouth opened wide, revealing rows of serrated fangs dripping with glowing saliva that hissed as it struck the floor. The alien human lizard had arrived. Strange breath caught. This wasn't a demon. This wasn't a beast. This was something older, something born in the void between worlds, a predator that had tasted humanity before and hungered for it again. The creature roared, the sound shaking the walls of the sanctum, shattering glass, toppling shelves of relics. Strange raised his hands, golden sparks igniting as he summoned the flames of the Faltine. Bolts of fire streaked across the room, slamming into the creature's chest. It staggered, smoke rising from its scales. But then it changed. The wounds closed. The flesh shifted. The creature's body adapted, its scales hardening, its muscles swelling. It hissed again, louder, hungrier. Strange's eyes widened. It evolves. The alien human lizard lunged, claws tearing through the floor, tail whipping like a spiked chain. Strange conjured a shield, the impact rattling his bones, sparks flying. He spun, opening a portal, redirecting the creature's momentum into the mirror dimension. Glass-like shards of reality shattered around them as the two entered a world of infinite reflections. Towers of glass stretched into the void, the ground shifting like liquid. Strange hovered above, his cloak carrying him, his hands weaving sigils faster than the eye could follow. By the hoary hosts of Ha-Goth, he shouted, unleashing a storm of crystalline chains that wrapped around the beast. The chains glowed, binding its limbs, its chest, its throat. For a moment it worked. The creature thrashed, its roar echoing through the mirrored void. Strange chest heaved, sweat dripping down his brow. Then the chain snapped. The alien human lizard's body twisted, its human flesh mutating, sprouting new limbs, new claws. It slammed into Strange, sending him crashing through a wall of glass. Shards exploded around him, slicing his skin, his cloak barely catching him before he fell into the abyss. Strange gritted his teeth, blood on his lip. "You're not just a monster. You're a plague." The creature roared, its voice layered with something almost human, a whisper beneath the hiss. Words. Broken, distorted, but words nonetheless. "Hunjarwai." Strange's stomach turned. This wasn't just instinct. This thing could think. The beast lunged again, its claws tearing through the mirrored ground, sending shockwaves that shattered entire towers. Strange spun, opening a portal back to the sanctum, diving through as the creature followed. They crashed into the real world, the sanctum exploding with energy. Relics shattered, wards collapsed, the very foundation of the building trembling. Strange raised his hands, summoning the crimson bands of Sidorak, wrapping the creature in glowing red chains. This time, he poured everything into it. The bands tightened, glowing brighter, constricting the beast until its bones cracked. The alien human lizard roared, its saliva sizzling against the floor, its eyes burning brighter. And then, impossibly, it began to change again. The human flesh spread, covering more of its body, reshaping its form. Its face twisted, half reptile, half human, a grotesque parody of man. Its voice deepened, clearer now. Strange. The sorcerer froze. It knew his name. The band snapped. The creature lunged, faster than before, its claws slashing across Strange's chest. Blood sprayed, his body crashing into the wall. His cloak caught him, pulling him upright, but his vision blurred. The alien human lizard loomed over him, its breath hot, acidic, its eyes burning with hunger and intelligence. Strange raised a trembling hand, weaving one last spell. A portal opened beneath the creature, sucking it into the dark void of the quantum abyss. The beast roared, thrashing, its claws scraping the edges, but the pull was too strong. With a final hiss, it vanished. The portal snapped shut. Silence. Strange collapsed to his knees, his chest heaving, blood dripping onto the floor. The sanctum was in ruins, relics shattered, wards broken. He pressed a hand to his wound, his eyes narrowing. That thing wasn't gone. Not forever. He had only delayed it. And worse, it had spoken his name. Strange looked at the shattered codex, its pages still glowing faintly. He realized the truth. The alien human lizard hadn't been summoned. It had been waiting, and now it knew the way in. The streets of New York were alive with ordinary chaos. Honking taxis, flashing billboards, the hum of a city that never slept. No one noticed the faint shimmer in the air above Times Square, a ripple in reality like heat rising from asphalt, until it tore open. The rift split the sky, jagged and green, spilling light across the skyscrapers. People screamed, pointing upward as the air itself cracked. And from the wound in reality came a roar that silenced the city. The alien human lizard burst through. Its body was larger now, more grotesque than before. Black-green scales rippled across its chest, but patches of human flesh twitched between them, veins glowing faintly with alien fire. Its claws scraped against the glass of a skyscraper, carving deep scars as it climbed. Its eyes burned venomous green, vertical pupils narrowing as it scanned the crowd below. And then it leapt. Cars flipped as it landed, asphalt cracking beneath its weight. People scattered, screams rising, phones raised in trembling hands. The creature's mouth opened wide, serrated fangs dripping glowing saliva that hissed as it struck the ground. Dr. Strange appeared in a burst of golden sparks, his cloak billowing, his hands already weaving sigils. He landed in the middle of Times Square, his voice booming. "Everyone run!" The crowd scattered, but the creature's eyes locked onto him. It hissed, its voice layered with something almost human. "Strange." The sorcerer's jaw tightened. "You shouldn't know my name." The alien human lizard roared, charging. Strange raised his hands, summoning a shield of golden light. The impact rattled his bones, sparks flying as claws scraped against magic. He spun, opening a portal beneath the beast, but it leapt aside, its tail whipping through the air, smashing into a bus and sending it tumbling. Strange's eyes narrowed. It's learning. He conjured the winds of Watum, a cyclone of energy that lifted the creature off its feet, hurling it into a billboard. Neon lights exploded, sparks raining down. The beast roared, its body twisting, adapting. Its arms lengthened, claws sharpening, its human flesh spreading further, reshaping its form. And then it split. The flesh tore, and from its body emerged a second creature, smaller, but identical, its eyes burning the same venomous green. Strange's stomach dropped. It multiplies. The two beasts roared in unison, charging from opposite sides. Strange spun, opening twin portals, redirecting their attacks into each other. They collided mid-air, crashing into the pavement, but instead of weakening, they fused, their bodies twisting into something larger, more monstrous. The crowd screamed, fleeing through the streets. Sirens wailed as police cars screeched to a halt, officers opening fire. Bullets sparked uselessly against scales. The creature roared, sweeping its tail, flipping cars, sending officers flying. Strange hovered above, his cloak carrying him, his hands weaving faster. He summoned the crimson bands of Sidorak, glowing red chains wrapping around the beast. For a moment, it held, the creature thrashing, roaring, its body straining. Then the chains snapped. The beast lunged, slamming into Strange mid-air. They crashed through a skyscraper, glass exploding, offices shattering. Strange tumbled through desks and chairs, his cloak catching him before he hit the ground. He staggered his feet, blood dripping from his lip. The creature loomed in the wreckage, its body glowing, its form shifting again. Its face twisted, half human, half reptile, its voice clearer now. Your magic feeds me. Strange's eyes widened. Every spell he cast, every attack he unleashed, the creature wasn't just resisting. It was evolving. The beast lunged again, claws tearing through steel. Strange opened a portal, diving through, reappearing on the street below. The creature followed, crashing into the pavement, sending shockwaves through the city. Helicopters roared overhead, spotlights cutting through the smoke. News cameras zoomed in, broadcasting the battle live. The world was watching. Strange raised his hands, summoning the images of Icon, illusions of himself surrounding the beast. The creature roared, slashing wildly, tearing through phantoms. But then it stopped, its eyes narrowing. It sniffed the air, its pupils dilating. And it found him. It lunged, slamming into the real Strange, claws tearing across his chest. He cried out, blood spraying, his cloak wrapping around him, pulling him away. He staggered, his vision blurring, his breath ragged. The creature loomed, its voice a guttural growl. Strange weak. The sorcerer's jaw tightened. He raised his hands, weaving a spell he had sworn never to use. The air darkened, the ground trembling, the sky splitting with crimson light. The creature roared, sensing the danger, charging. Strange unleashed it. A torrent of eldritch fire erupted, slamming into the beast, consuming it in flames. The city shook, windows shattered, the ground cracked. The creature screamed, its body writhing, its flesh burning. For a moment, it seemed to work. The beast staggered, its body collapsing, its roar fading. Then it changed again. The flames didn't kill it. They became part of it. Its body glowed brighter, its scales burning with crimson fire, its eyes blazing. It roared, louder than before, its voice shaking the city. Strange's heart sank. His most forbidden spell hadn't destroyed it. It had made it stronger. The alien human lizard spread its arms, its body towering, its roar echoing across the world. And for the first time, Dr. Strange felt fear. The city was still burning. Helicopters circled above, their spotlights cutting through smoke, news anchors shouting into cameras as the world watched in horror. The alien human lizard stood in the ruins of Times Square, its body glowing with crimson fire, its scales fused with human flesh, its eyes burning brighter than ever. Dr. Strange hovered above, his cloak tattered, his chest heaving. His forbidden spell had failed. Worse, it had made the creature stronger. And then the air split again. A second rift tore open above the city, jagged and green, spilling light across the skyline. Strange's stomach dropped. He hadn't opened it. The creature had. The alien human lizard roared, its voice layered with human words now, broken but clear. Morecambe. From the rift, shadows poured. Dozens of smaller hybrids, each twisted in different ways. Some more reptile, some more human, all dripping with venomous saliva and glowing eyes. They crawled across buildings, leapt onto streets, their roars echoing through the city. The invasion had begun. Strange's hands moved instinctively, weaving sigils, opening portals to trap the swarm. Golden rings of light snapped shut around them, hurling some into the mirror dimension, others into frozen pockets of time. But for everyone he banished, two more emerged. The crowd screamed, chaos erupting. Soldiers fired rockets, tanks rolled through the streets, jets streaked overhead. Explosions lit the night, but the creatures adapted, their scales hardening, their bodies mutating. Bullets sparked uselessly. Fire only made them stronger. Strange's jaw tightened. This isn't a battle. It's a contagion. The alien human lizard roared, its voice shaking the city. It spread its arms, and the rift widened, cracks spiderwebbing across the sky. Strange's eyes widened. It wasn't just opening portals. It was tearing at the fabric of reality itself. The skyline warped, buildings twisting, streets bending upward like waves. Civilians screamed as the ground split, cars tumbling into glowing voids. The multiverse was bleeding into New York. Strange soared higher, his voice booming. By the Vishanti, I command you stop. He unleashed the full force of the Book of Vishanti, golden light flooding the sky, slamming into the rift. For a moment, it held. The cracks slowed, the swarm faltered. Then the alien human lizard laughed. It was a horrible sound, half hiss, half human chuckle, echoing across dimensions. Its body twisted, growing larger, its human flesh spreading further, its face reshaping into something disturbingly familiar. Strange froze. It was his own face. Half reptile, half sorcerer, the creature's features mirrored his, distorted and monstrous. Its voice deepened, mocking. You are me. Strange blood ran cold. This wasn't just a predator. It was a reflection. A parasite born from his own magic, feeding on his power, evolving into his shadow. The crowd gasped as the creature raised its claws, summoning eldritch fire. Strange's own spell, twisted and corrupted. It hurled it across the city, detonating in a wave of crimson energy that flattened buildings. Strange barely raised a shield in time, the impact rattling his bones. His mind raced. If this thing could copy him, if it could become him, the multiverse was doomed. The swarm surged, flooding the streets, climbing skyscrapers, tearing through tanks and jets. Strange fought desperately, opening portals, summoning chains, unleashing storms of fire and ice. But the creatures adapted, evolving faster, stronger, smarter. And then the rift widened again. This time, Strange saw what lay beyond. Not another city, not another world, but infinite reflections, countless versions of Earth, each one cracking, each one bleeding into the next. And in every reflection, he saw them, the alien human lizards, spreading, multiplying, consuming. This wasn't just an invasion. It was an extinction event. Strange's chest tightened. He couldn't fight this alone. He needed help. He raised his hands, weaving a desperate spell, his voice booming. By the 7 sons of Cinnabus, I call upon the Council of Strange. The air shimmered. Portals opened, and from them stepped other versions of himself, sorcerers supreme from across the multiverse. Some wore darker robes, some carried staffs, some bore scars he didn't recognize. But all of them shared the same grim determination. The crowd gasped as dozens of Dr. Strange filled the sky, their cloaks billowing, their hands glowing with power. The alien-human lizard roared, its voice mocking. Many, strange, many meals. The swarm surged. The battle began. The sky lit with fire as sorcerers unleashed spells in unison. Golden chains wrapping around the beasts, portals swallowing them whole, storms of lightning tearing through their ranks. The air shook with power, the city glowing with magic. But the creatures adapted. They copied the spells, twisted them, hurled them back. The battlefield became chaos, sorcery against sorcery, monsters against men. Strange fought at the center, his cloak carrying him, his hands weaving faster than ever. He banished dozens, shattered hundreds, but the swarm was endless. His allies fell one by one, their screams echoing through the multiverse. The alien-human lizard grew larger, its body glowing, its face shifting between reptile and strange, its voice booming. You cannot win. I am evolution. I am you. Strange's jaw tightened, his eyes burning. Then I'll show you what it means to be me. He raised his hands, summoning a spell so dangerous he had sworn never to use it. The Rite of Unmaking. A spell that didn't just destroy, it erased. The other Strange gasped, shouting warnings, but he ignored them. The world was already breaking. There was no other choice. The air darkened, the ground trembling, the sky splitting with crimson light. The alien-human lizard roared, sensing the danger, charging. The swarm followed, a tidal wave of claws and fire. Strange unleashed it. A blinding explosion of light consumed the battlefield, tearing through the swarm, erasing them from existence. The city shook, the rift cracked, the multiverse screamed. When the light faded, silence. The swarm was gone. The rift was closed. The city lay in ruins, smoke rising, civilians staring in stunned silence. Strange hovered above, his cloak tattered, his body trembling. His allies were gone, erased with the spell. He was alone again, and then he heard it. A hiss. From the shadows of the ruins, a single figure emerged. The alien-human lizard, still alive. Its body was smaller now, weaker, but its eyes burned brighter than ever. It hissed, its voice a whisper. Strange, you cannot erase yourself. Strange's blood ran cold. The war wasn't over. The Sanctum Sanctorum was gone. New York was gone. The world itself was cracking like glass. Dr. Strange hovered in the ruins of reality, his cloak torn, his body trembling, his eyes burning with exhaustion. Around him, fragments of earth floated in a void of shifting colors. Skyscrapers twisted into spirals, oceans hanging upside down, stars bleeding into rivers of light. And at the center of it all stood the alien-human lizard. It was no longer just a beast. Its body had grown colossal, towering above the shattered fragments of reality. Its scales glistened black-green. Its human flesh stretched grotesquely across its chest and face. And that face, it was his. A warped reflection of Dr. Strange himself, half sorcerer, half reptile, eyes glowing venomous green. The creature's voice echoed across the void, layered with hiss and human tone. You cannot erase me. I am your shadow. I am your hunger for power. Strange jaw tightened. You're not me. You're what happens when magic is abused. You're what I swore never to become. The creature laughed, a horrible sound that shook the void. And yet, you created me. The swarm returned. Dozens, then hundreds of smaller hybrids poured from cracks in the void, crawling across floating skyscrapers, leaping through the air, their roars echoing. Each one bore fragments of Strange face, twisted and reptilian. The Council of Strange had been erased by his own spell. He was alone, or so he thought. A portal opened behind him, golden sparks cutting through the void. From it stepped Wong, his staff glowing, his eyes fierce. Behind him came Clea, her silver hair flowing, her hands already weaving violet fire. And then more, sorcerers from other realms, allies Strange had thought lost. You didn't think we'd let you fight this alone, did you? Wong shouted. Strange's chest tightened. For the first time in hours, he felt hope. The sorcerers spread out, their cloaks billowing, their hands glowing with power. Together, they unleashed a storm of magic, Chains of fire, blades of light, torrents of energy that tore through the swarm. The void lit up with explosions, the hybrids shrieking as they fell. But the alien-human lizard only grew stronger. It raised its claws, summoning crimson fire, Strange's own spell, twisted and corrupted. It hurled it across the battlefield, detonating in a wave that shattered entire fragments of reality. Sorcerers screamed, their bodies dissolving into ash. Strange heart pounded. Every spell they cast, the creature absorbed. Every attack only made it stronger. He realized the truth. This wasn't a battle of strength. It was a battle of will. The creature wasn't just feeding on magic. It was feeding on him, his doubts, his fears, his arrogance. Every time he fought with anger, every time he fought with desperation, it grew. He closed his eyes, steadying his breath. He remembered the Ancient One's words, "It's not about you." When he opened his eyes, they burned with clarity. He raised his hands, but this time he didn't summon fire. He didn't summon chains. He summoned silence. A wave of calm spread across the battlefield, golden light radiating from his hands. The swarm faltered, their roars fading, their bodies trembling. The alien-human lizard hissed, its eyes narrowing. "What are you doing?" Strange's voice was steady. "I'm not feeding you anymore." The creature roared, charging, its claws tearing through the void. Strange didn't move. He opened his arms, his cloak billowing, his body glowing with golden light. The claws struck and passed through him. The creature staggered, its body flickering. Its roar turned to a hiss of confusion. "You deny me." Strange's voice echoed, calm and powerful. "You are my shadow." But shadows only exist when there is light. The golden light spread, engulfing the battlefield. The swarm dissolved, their bodies fading into dust. The cracks in reality began to heal, the fragments of Earth pulling back together. The alien-human lizard screamed, its body convulsing, its flesh twisting. It shrank, its scales peeling away, its human face flickering. And then, in the light, Strange saw it. Not a monster, not a god, a man, a broken, twisted version of himself, eyes filled with hunger and pain. "Help me," it whispered. Strange's chest tightened. He reached out, his hand glowing. "I will." But before he could touch it, the creature hissed, its eyes burning one last time. "No, I will return." Its body dissolved into ash, carried away by the light. Silence. The void healed. The city reformed. The world was whole again. Strange hovered above the ruins, his cloak tattered, his body trembling. Wong and Clea stood beside him, their faces grim. "It's over," Wong said. Strange shook his head. "No, it's not. That thing wasn't just a monster. It was me, and as long as I exist, so does it." He looked at his hands, still glowing faintly. For the first time, he wondered if the greatest threat to the multiverse wasn't the alien-human lizard. It was Dr. Strange himself. The world was quiet. Too quiet. Dr. Strange stood on the roof of a shattered skyscraper, the cloak of levitation barely holding him upright. His body trembled, his chest burned, and his hands shook with exhaustion. Below him, New York was a graveyard of smoke and silence. The invasion had ended, the swarm erased, the rifts closed. But one hiss remained. From the ruins, the alien-human lizard emerged. Smaller now, but more dangerous than ever. Its body was lean, jagged scales fused with human flesh. Its face a grotesque mirror of Strange's own. Its eyes glowed venomous green, vertical pupils narrowing as it smiled. "You cannot destroy me," it whispered. "I am you." Strange's jaw tightened. He had heard those words before, but this time he didn't flinch. "No," he said, his voice steady. "You're what I could become, but you're not me." The creature roared, its voice shaking the ruins. It lunged, claws slashing, tail whipping. Strange raised his hands, golden sparks igniting, his cloak carrying him into the air. The final battle began. The sky lit with fire as sorcery clashed with evolution. Strange hurled bolts of eldritch energy, the creature dodging, adapting, its body shifting with every strike. It spat acid, its saliva burning through steel, its claws carving through concrete. Strange spun, opening portals, redirecting attacks, weaving spells faster than ever. But the creature was faster, stronger, smarter. It copied his spells, twisting them, hurling them back. Golden shields shattered, crimson fire exploded, the battlefield glowing with chaos. Strange staggered, blood dripping from his lip, his vision blurring. The creature laughed, its voice mocking. You cannot win. Every spell you cast, I become stronger. Every thought you have, I already know. Strange chest tightened. It was true. This wasn't just a monster. It was his reflection, his shadow, his hunger for power given form. And then he realized he couldn't defeat it with power. He couldn't defeat it with magic. He had to defeat it with something else. He closed his eyes, steadying his breath. He let go of the fear. He let go of the anger. He let go of the arrogance. When he opened his eyes, they burned with calm. The creature lunged, claws raised. Strange didn't move. He lowered his hands. The claws struck and passed through him. The alien human lizard staggered, its body flickering, its roar turning to a hiss of confusion. What are you doing? Strange's voice was steady. I'm not feeding you anymore. You are my shadow, and shadows only exist when there is light. Golden light radiated from his body, spreading across the battlefield. The creature screamed, its flesh twisting, its scales peeling away. It shrank, its form collapsing, its voice breaking. No, I am you. I am. And then it was gone, dissolved into dust, carried away by the light. Silence. The city was still. The sky was clear. The war was over. Strange hovered above the ruins, his cloak tattered, his body trembling. He looked down at his hands, still glowing faintly. For the first time, he felt peace. Wong appeared beside him, his staff glowing, his face grim. Is it done? Strange nodded slowly. It's done. For now. Clea stepped forward, her eyes sharp. But it wasn't just a monster, was it? It was you. Strange's jaw tightened. He didn't answer, because she was right. The alien human lizard hadn't been an invader. It hadn't been summoned. It had been born from his own magic, his own flaws, his own hunger for power. And though it was gone, he knew the truth. It could return, because as long as he existed, so did his shadow. He looked at the horizon, the sun rising over the ruins, light spilling across the city. Civilians emerged from the rubble, their faces pale but alive. They looked up at him, their eyes filled with awe and fear. Dr. Strange, the man who had saved them, the man who had almost destroyed them. He closed his eyes, whispering to himself, "The greatest enemy is always within." The cloak of levitation carried him into the dawn. The story was over, but the war had only just begun.